What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben and welcome back to the bench for another episode of our 12 Sprues of Kit-mas. Today we're moving on to day number 11 and I'm very excited to go ahead and see what we're going to pull out of the box today. We only have 2 kits left, so we got a 50-50 shot at either the KI-44 or the A4 Skyhawk. Either way, I'm going to be happy. So let's go ahead and grab that box here and we're going to punch on through day number 11. As you can see, we have really cleared out this board. We are moving right along and the models I built so far have been a lot of fun. My last kit I did have a little issue with the canopy, but for the most part, man, it went together beautifully. Made a nice little ornament. But for this one, I don't know if I'm going to do an ornament or I'm going to do a display model. We'll have to see how it kind of pans out. So let's reach on in there, fish around a little bit. I've got the label. Let's go ahead and pull that out and oh, okay, very cool. We're going to be building the A4B Skyhawk, and that is pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and grab that model and check out the plastic. Now, I've been building quite a few Airfix kits over the last couple of months, and I've had a lot of fun with them. They usually fit very well, and they're fairly accurate as far as I can tell. This one, of course, is an early A4, and I love the early A4s. The A and B models, even the C models, just have a really fast kind of a sports car look to me, and I enjoy the general shapes of the early versions. Great looking airplanes. Now, opening up the package, we have a very typical layout here. We have a really nice, very complete set of decals. That's awesome. We have one poly bag with all of our parts in it. I think, yeah, so far, just from preliminary glances, they look pretty good. Nice gray plastic, very finely recessed panel lines. We'll have to kind of get in there and look a bit more detail. Standard instructions. Nothing too fancy with that. Very typical Airfix. A lot of detail, very nice part layout, very nice part breakdown. They do tell you how much weight to go ahead and put in the nose there to make sure this isn't a tail dragger, so that's nice. Looks like we do have a couple options. We can fold the air brakes out or we can retract them. That's nice. Same thing with the slats. We can go ahead and have them extended, or we can pull them up and tuck them in. And we can also do the same thing with the landing gears. We can fold those up as an in-flight model, or we can have them deployed for sitting on the tarmac. So we'll probably end up going with that one. That way I can kind of open up the slats as well. Then of course, the last page, we have our canopy installation. We can have that open or closed. And we are given some options for ordnance with this one. We have different bombs, different drop tanks. I'm so used to manufacturers just not giving us any ordnance. It's nice and very refreshing to see someone give some bombs or something, you know. As far as our markings, we have 2 different versions. We have one here for the US Navy off the USS Intrepid. I've actually built the 1/48 scale version of this years ago, so I'd like to go ahead and maybe pull that one. We also have one here from Argentina, which is interesting. A very similar paint scheme though, but we do have that really cool blue and white flag there on the back, on the rudder. That's kind of interesting. Again, we have bombs and weapons for both versions, so that's nice. But I think, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and do this one here off the USS Intrepid, VA-15. I think that's going to be a really nice kind of a comparison between my already built kit in 1/48 scale and then the smaller 1/72 scale kit. So let's go ahead and check out the plastic. Now, this is very typical Airfix plastic, a very light bluish gray, and it looks like all the panel lines are recessed. We do have some really nice detail, though one of the problems I do have here with putting everything into one poly bag is inevitably you bend or break something. We have one of our slat rails that is a little bit bent, probably going to end up snapping off at some point during the construction. We'll be careful and see how long we can get that to last. I am noticing though there's a very thick attachment point between sprue and part. That might be a little bit finicky to go ahead and remove and sand down, but other than that though, it is pretty decent. We also have, looks like, our wing slats right here. We have our air brakes right there. Hopefully they fit and they attach onto the model without much hassle. We also have our cockpit tub here, and it looks like there's not a lot of detail there. In fact, there's no molded in detail whatsoever for the side consoles. So you can see it close up here. Like I said, smooth, very smooth. We also have a pilot, so that's interesting. I'm not really going to use him though because I want to have the cockpit open and as much of it exposed as possible. And the A4s had really tiny little cockpits. They're smaller aircraft for sure. Fuselage looks great. Finely recessed panel lines. Everything looks in scale. Nothing looks out of shape or out of place, so I'm happy with that. And we have some really nice detail in the wheel wells. So you can see we have a lot of cabling and actuators and whatnot, so that's very cool. Well done, Airfix. Just a quick close-up here on the decals while we are at it. As you can see, they look very clean, very nice. We're going to go ahead and dive into our first time-lapse, so we have some basic assembly to do. We want to get that cockpit all squared away. We want to get some seatbelts built in there. We're going to custom mix a lot of colors here. So we're going to use a dark gray for the interior as it calls out for in the instructions. Get the landing gears on, get this thing primed, and see how we go. Let's get this ball rolling. So our A4 is nicely primed in Stalinares white primer, so I'm happy with that. We're going to go ahead and start in with the pre-shade though, and I'm going to use Tamiya NATO Black. I always like to use that for pre-shade. We also have to paint up the red areas like underneath the slats and then around the intakes. Those have to be painted red. And then we have to figure out our camo colors. So we have a light gold gray on top and we have a white on the bottom. So we have to go ahead and mix up something for that gold gray because I don't have any gold gray. I don't want to take time to run off to the hobby store either. So we're just going to make up what we have and try our best with that. Then after that is all done, we have a gloss coat to put on and we are ready for decals. Let's keep this moving, guys. All right, everybody, we are back and our A4 is looking very, very nice. We've got a gloss coat on there. We applied Future for that, and that always works well for me. Now we're going to go ahead and cut out the decals and start getting those all nicely placed. Now, I've been doing a little bit of research as well on the markings here. And the markings look to be pretty accurate, but there are a couple of discrepancies. For example, we have the Tonkin Gulf Yacht Club badge on the back tail, which they wouldn't have actually received until after they returned from their initial cruise in Vietnam. So that means if we go ahead and sling some bombs underneath the wings of this thing, we probably shouldn't have the Tonkin Gulf Yacht Club badge because they would be still in country. And also the mission markings. We would have to remove a mission marking for that to be, accurate. And also I've noticed a couple of different colors here. For example, the flashes here on the drop tank, they actually are red here in the kit, but I've seen them pictured as blue in real life. So I'm not really sure what to do with that, to be honest. We're not pushing it as accurate as possible. What they give you here in the kit is a very nice looking A4. Let's go ahead and push on. We got to get this thing decaled, detail painted, got this thing weathered, get some ordnance on, and then finally flat coat. We'll be back and I'll show you the finished A4 Skyhawk. Let's keep it going, guys. We're almost there. Alright everybody, we are back and we have finished our A4 Skyhawk. This is a great little model, to be honest. Airfix, they've outdone themselves with this one. I absolutely love the early A4s and there's not really a lot of model kits out there. I know Hasegawa made a bunch of them, but they're really expensive and very hard to find. So this is what we have, and honestly, it is a great little model. The Airfix 1/72nd scale A4B Skyhawk in the colors of VA-15 off the USS Intrepid. And I gotta tell you, it was a lot of fun to go ahead and weather this thing down and to get this all nicely painted up. You gotta love the early scooters. They look really sleek, very fast. Unfortunately, we did lose that front pitot tube. I took it off on purpose because I was gonna knock it off, and then I lost it. So we don't have a pitot tube on this, but I don't think it really matters. The underside of the aircraft, we did throw those snake eyes on there for the bombs, and we have our centerline drop tank. I would have preferred a bit more in terms of weapons, but we have something, so that's great. We've got our wing slats on, we've got that red painted there, and we've got our mid-air refueling probe, and our canopy is open, so that's nice. We can show some detail. Now, in terms of the markings themselves, they went on beautifully. I didn't have any trouble with them. Everything just absolutely went down and conformed to all the panel lines, so I'm very happy with how it looks. From my references and my resources that I have, this looks to be pretty legit. One thing we can notice here, we've got the badge for VA-15, we've got our mission markings, and we've got our Tonkin Gulf Yacht Club badge there on the tail. Now, like I mentioned though, that badge would have been applied to the aircraft when it returned from Vietnam here in the States. Even though the decals are very accurate, we are missing a couple of things. For example, this particular aircraft, I think all of VA-15's aircraft, on the rear tail, each one of these little ribbings would have been painted a different color. And I'm pretty sure it's like a yellow, a blue, red, and then it just repeats. There might be a brown thrown in there as well. Now, there's no decal for it here on this kit, and I didn't really want to take time to go ahead and figure out and paint all those. It's fine. I don't really mind. On the top side of the wing here, we have one national marking, and that one was a real bear to get on. Mostly because we've got all these little spoilers, these little fences right there on the back. Getting the decal to conform over those was not an easy task. It took a lot of microsol. I was also a little bit concerned here on the front national marking that goes over the mid-air refueling probe. That I figured would be a really difficult one to put on, but actually it was very simple. We also went ahead and cut out the danger arrow off of the kit decals and applied them onto our painted on markings. Overall, was a very fun build, a very nice looking kit. Underside, I did a little bit of weathering with the AK panel liners, and as you can see, I painted on the black and white stripes there for the tail hook. But overall, a great experience. I did sling those bombs under there, so it's nice to have ordnance. There's just a lot of really good things about this kit, and so I highly recommend it. If you like Cold War fighters, this is a wonderful little model for sure. That's going to be it, guys. We are done with day 11. We're going to go ahead and move on now to day 12, and I'm kind of excited to see how the next model is going to turn out. We're going to be moving on and kind of coming full circle, kind of ending where we started. But that's going to be on episode number 12, so until then, you know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool, and we will see you back here on day number 12 for the finale of the 12 Sprues of Kit-mas. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you soon.